Coach Prime has heard your complaints that Colorado has been quiet on the trail lately. So the Buffs, they went out and they landed the number 67 overall player in the nation in wide receiver Drelon Miller. So for more on him, here's Smoke Dixon with a breakdown of the new Buffs commit.
Drelon Miller, an instinctive ball player that understands the mission of a receiver. Get open, catch the ball, and score. Let's get to the first play. This play right here, I don't know what they call it in their playbook, but what I'm calling it is make 11 miss. He runs shallow, catches the ball, eyes up the first defender, puts his left foot in the ground. We can call it right now, all 11. All those guys are going to have an opportunity to tackle him, but they're not. Puts his foot in the ground, gets behind the line of scrimmage. Every coach in America is saying no, no, no. But when you have this guy, it's a yes, yes, yes. Makes 11 guys miss, puts his foot in the ground, and score. Again, this calls 11 guys miss. Dynamic playmaker. Let's get to the next one, where he's going to be pressed up a little bit at the bottom of the screen. Press defender, suddenness, burst off the ball, plucks the ball out of the air, eyes it, puts his foot in the ground. Now, one thing that he does a real good job of, again, is making defenders miss. This guy runs like a running back that plays the receiver position. Strong, knees driving, arms, shoulders, everything's popping, and defenders just fall off him. And he creates yards after contact. Make him miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, picks up 6 yards after he just got hit. Now, let's get to the last play, when he understands coverage. I said instinctive player. He understands that this defender is bailing, so now I have a free access. Puts his foot in the ground, vacuums the ball out of the air, suction cups, catches it, makes the first defender miss, and now you have 2 defenders there that have an angle on him, but he just outruns them. You probably put a clock on him, he's not going to be the 4-3 guy. But one thing that he understands is how to score with the ball in his hands. Good game speed. Drelon Miller understands what to do with the ball in his hands and understands the mission of a receiver. Get open, catch, and score.
Love it. Thank you, Smoke. Well, Miller is not the only major headline coming out of Boulder over the last few days, so we needed to call our friend Adam Munsterteiger of Buff Stampede. And Adam, let's start, though, with Drelon Miller. Of course, that is the guy of the moment. You heard Smoke break down his game, but how big a victory is this for Coach Prime and his staff in this class?
Well, it's a big victory because they lose Zay Weaver, who was their leading receiver this past season. And they need some big playmakers to join this program. Yeah, obviously the emphasis is on the offensive line. We'll get to that. That's the priority this offseason. But there are still some spots offensively to help Shedeur Sanders out. And Drelon Miller, with that breakaway ability, is going to be a guy that they bring in and feature from day one. We saw Coach Prime and his staff's willingness to play true freshmen. Dylan Edwards had a big role in the offense this past season. Omarion Miller had a huge performance against USC, and there were some freshman defensive backs that got on the field quite a bit. So I expect Drelon Miller at his size to come in, compete, and be one of their top receivers from the jump. And you talk to people that know Drelon Miller, and they talk about the upside to his frame, and this is already a physical player. And as he gets in a college weight room, I'd imagine that he's going to be a really, really tough guy, not only to catch, but to bring down into tackle as he gets some of that development at the college level.
Adam, you alluded to the need at offensive line, and Deion went out and got the last available 5-star among the top 32 in this 2024 class, Jordan Seaton. They beat out some schools in the SEC. They beat out some schools that are in the Big Ten. How did Coach Prime shock the world by securing this commitment?
Well, he provides a unique opportunity in Colorado, and you saw it when Jordan Seaton announced on Undisputed, right? He got to go on national television and do all kinds of, basically do a media tour out in Los Angeles. And so once he gets to Boulder, he's going to have cameras following him around. And this is an opportunity that you got to be comfortable in your own skin to succeed in Colorado under Coach Prime, because again, the cameras are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of pressure on you. You take an opportunity to go protect Shedeur Sanders. Well, if that doesn't go well, there's going to be a lot of pressure on you. So it shows a lot of Seaton that he believes in himself to take this opportunity with all those eyeballs that are going to be on him, and another guy that you'd expect to come in and play right away, even though we're seeing Coach Prime and this staff be very selective with high school recruiting and look more to the transfer portal ranks because they want to maximize this last year of Shedeur Sanders at the college level. They want to maximize Travis Hunter's junior season before he goes off to the NFL. So, they're only looking for high school guys that can step in and make a big impact now, or at positions where they feel like they've already got that depth built up for 2024.
We'll discuss the transfer portal haul in just a second, but that was the exciting part of what's been happening on the recruiting trail. I got to ask about the less fun stuff. That's four-star wide receiver Aaron Butler decommitting Saturday, and you take a look at this list. Since the beginning of November, Colorado has had 6 decommitments between 2024 and 25 guys. So how concerning maybe is this for the program?
Well, I think if you don't follow that up with lending a Jordan Seaton and a Drelon Miller, then you start to wonder. Now with Antoine Hill, he was initially expected to reclassify and come into Boulder in 2024 and basically be Shedeur Sanders' understudy. And so when Antoine Hill decided that he wasn't going to reclassify, he had more time to make that decision. So those 2025 guys basically want to have that opportunity to not scare off other colleges from being able to offer and go through that process. With Danny O'Neal, the quarterback, that was a Sean Lewis quarterback commit, and Sean Lewis is now the head coach at San Diego State. And then Talon Chandler, he was a Bill O'Boyle commit, and now Bill O'Boyle's at San Diego State with Sean Lewis. So there was a reason for some of those decommitments. Being able to follow it up and replace the big guys that you miss out of that group makes you less concerned, I would think, going forward, and especially what they've been able to do out of the portal here in recent days.
Let's talk about that, because there's always the portal, and when it comes to Coach Prime, he loves him some portal. He actually told us on our Portal Palooza show what his main target was going to be. Check it out.
If you watch this play, what did you say? Oh, boy, if they just had some protection for Shedeur. Oh, if they could just get after that passer, oh, they would be So we're going to address that. We're going to address that in the portal and from the high school rankings. You got to understand, high school, to me, it's like draft choices in the NFL. The portal is free agency, and we're in free agency right now. And I'm thankful that we have and we will have the wherewithal to go get what we need.
He is a man of his word. That was a week ago, and we'll show you what he has done since then. 4 new additions along the offensive line. Some really solid talent here with starting experience at every single position. So, Adam, how can this offensive line haul help immediately next season?
Yeah, and Matthew Bedford, an offensive lineman that was the starter there with Khalil Benson at Indiana last year, was on campus at Colorado this past weekend and might be leaning towards a commitment as well. So it is pretty impressive, the overhaul there. And they really learned a lesson from what happened to them last year. They did bring in 7 offensive line transfers from the portal last year. Now, it really hurt when Tyler Brown was ruled ineligible. They really expected him to get a waiver, and he's back in the roster. They expect him to be part of the group that's going to battle for a starting guard spot. But those other guys that they brought in from the portal last year were misses, and they just didn't have that competition. Now, there's a new offensive line coach, Phil Lodeholt, who comes in from Oklahoma, and you're seeing them have a big uptick in the caliber of offensive line transfers that they can get on campus and then quickly turn into commitments. And that happened this past weekend, like you put up on the screen. And these were all guys that started at the FBS level last year. And so you look at a Tyler Johnson that was at Houston last year and played really well, but not a lot of people noticed it. And now he comes to Colorado, and again, going back to Jordan Seaton, there's going to be a lot of pressure on these guys coming in, but there's going to be no bigger spotlight for an offensive line in the country, really, when you look at it in 2024 than what Colorado provides. And everybody's going to be looking to see who can protect Shedeur Sanders. And if they do a great job of that, guys like Tyler Johnson all of a sudden look like pretty attractive NFL draft picks. And so these guys are betting on themselves, and they're not going to stop here. I really do think that they're going to add another piece or two on the offensive line and really have a too deep of competition, as opposed to last year when you kind of knew the starting 5. And then when Tyler Brown wasn't eligible, they were kind of in trouble, and they couldn't replace and rejuvenate that group during the season. But they've obviously made it a priority very quickly since that last game against Utah ended.
We just heard Coach Prime compare the portal to free agency, draft day to being the recruiting, right? That's signing day for high schools, and they're on the clock. That's next week. We know that he likes to pull some surprises. He's done it in the past. Travis Hunter, Cormani McClain, just to name two surprises. And now with the stretch run here in front of us, Adam, who are some names to monitor as potential sneaky sleeper picks for Coach Prime?
Well, I bet he's so sneaky that this is going to be somebody that doesn't even get mentioned, because 2 years ago, nobody thought Travis Hunter was getting flipped to Jackson State. And then last year at this time, Cormani McClain was expected to be a hurricane. But no, I will throw some names out you, because there have been some guys in the 2024 class that have been considering Colorado late in the process. And one really intriguing prospect to keep an eye on is Jaquan McRoy. He's currently committed to Oregon, has been committed there since July. He's been on campus at Colorado here recently. He's still committed to Oregon, but this is somebody that you could again sell on the stage that you have at Colorado as an offensive lineman coming in. Now, Dan Lanning just lost Jordan Seaton to Colorado, so I'm sure that the Ducks are going to do everything they can to try to keep McRoy on board, but that's one name to keep an eye on. Boo Carter has been committed to Tennessee for quite a while now, and I've been told that Colorado expects to still be in the mix with him until the very end. Very versatile player. That could be another guy that you could factor in as a playmaker in this offense as a true freshman. And then there's a 4-star edge by the name of King Joseph Edwards that I expected to be a buff. And then Nick Williams, the edge coach at Colorado, left to go to Syracuse's staff. And now all of a sudden, Syracuse looks like maybe the front runner for King Edwards Joseph. But Colorado's still going after him late in the process. So those are 3 names to keep an eye on. But again, with Coach Prime and this staff, you never know. I mean, Jordan Seaton actually cut Colorado from his list of finalists as a smokescreen a couple days before announcing to the Buffs. So they play some tricks. They make it interesting. Your head is on a swivel covering this team's football recruiting efforts, that's for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you trying to predict, but in all of our meetings leading up to our signing day show, we just keep saying, expect the unexpected. But we know that when something happens, that you'll be all over it, Adam. Thank you so much for being on the show. You can check out more of his work at Buff Stampede. It is the place to go for all things Colorado. We are, again, a little over a week out from National Signing Day. And if history tells us anything, Coach Prime, he's got something up his sleeve. So Adam and the guys will be all over it at buffstampede.com.